Hey everyone, I just finished reading this book, Think Like a Winner by Yehuda Shinar. I hope I'm saying that properly. And it's not the first time I read this book actually. I read this about 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Um, and I saw it on my bookshelf and I thought that was quite helpful last time. Or was it? I couldn't remember, so I read it again. It's a very practical book. And Yehuda Shinar has worked with Scottish sports teams. Um, he's a coach, and his approach is really, really practical. So one of the things I like about this book is it's got exercises in it, and they're the same kind of exercises you find in a lot of self-help books. Write down your goals, write down your weaknesses. It's got a few questionnaires in here as well, and then you score the questionnaires, and it tells you what kind of thinker you are. So one of the categories, one of the groups of categories that comes up is a pessimist, realist, naive, naive optimist, and winning optimist. So the idea is that a winning optimist is someone who thinks like a winner. And so there's lots of research actually going into this book about how winners actually think. What winners? Winners are people who, sports stars, business stars, or just parents whose children listen to them, whatever's important to you. So there's actually research to show that whilst statistically, what realists predict is more likely to happen, it doesn't actually make a difference in terms of success, because realists will predict something bad's going to happen, it happens, and they're like, I told you so. Whereas, look, my washing line just came into view. So, whereas winning optimists will expect something good to happen, but when it doesn't happen, well, because they still expect something good to happen, they'll try again anyway. So because they try more and they try more enthusiastically, they end up being a lot more successful. So, being right doesn't always make you successful. There's two things that keep coming up in this book. One is the idea of teacup, which stands for thinking correctly under pressure. And when you're in a situation where you're panicking, or where you think time is short, or where it's a stressful situation, teacup, you have to remember to think correctly under pressure. And you've always got a bit more time than you think you do. And if you rush and you hastily make a decision, or you act instinctively, you'll probably lose. You probably get it wrong. You'll probably mess the thing up. So it's always good to think, okay, how am I going to do this properly? There's a model he suggests in here as well, which is to be the warrior, basically someone who keeps trying and someone who's willing to go out of their comfort zone slightly. Thinker, so think correctly under pressure. And then, what was it? Continuous debriefer. This is an important aspect that comes up in this book a lot actually. So continuous debriefing comes down to, whenever something happens, whether it's good or bad, you should take a moment to think about it. Right, so I did really well there. What led to me doing really well? That's continuous debriefing. Or that didn't go right. What led to it not going right? So what were my behaviors? What were the other factors? What could I have done better? What could I have done differently? Or even when something goes really well, or you win, what did I do well there? How comes this time was better than last time? What's changed? So the idea of the continuous thinking is you're always learning from your experience, and that way you become better and better at something. So then you increase the frequency with which you win. Even winners will lose occasionally. There's no way to eliminate losing, except for not trying to do anything, in which case you're not even in the game, so you're never going to win, whatever that game is. What else was there in here? There was some good stuff, but I read it quite quickly. So planning's a good one, scheduling's a good one, and then there's these little boxes here, these chapters, which are kind of highlight boxes, not highlight, but summary boxes, which are quite useful. Let me go through one of them. Get realist, right? So this is quite a long one. Oh, this is talking about those categories: winning optimists, naive optimists, etc. Get realist. If men are from Mars and women are from Venus, then what planet are optimists on? Some people think optimists live in cloud cuckoo land, and they expect way too much, and that in reality things will never live up to those expectations. Many people won't pigeonhole themselves as pessimists with all the negative connotations that entails. Instead, they see themselves as realists, people who see things as they really are without falsely negative or positive spin on them. A realist will argue that by being realistic, they will never expect too much, and if you don't expect too much, you won't ever be disappointed. Sorry to disappoint you realists, but that is untrue. Say for example a winning optimist, a pessimist and a realist all see a great job in the paper that they would love to have, but might be just beyond their current experience level. A pessimist wouldn't even bother going for it. The realist and the winning optimist will both give it their best shot, but when neither of them gets it, the realist will say, thought as much, oh well, I'm glad I didn't get my hopes up too much. And at that point they stop. The winning optimist, being optimistic, will typically see the positive side. Feeling disappointed is not in their nature, at least not for long. They will start by debriefing. They might think, that was a good experience, I now know what to do better next time. I'll get some feedback, research this area a bit more and try again. No prizes for guessing who gets more success. That's the reality. So that goes back to those categories I was talking about. And then you've got these questionnaires like this, you tick them off and you see which category you fall into, and according to which category you fall into, there's a remedy somewhere in this book. At the back of the book, you've got these areas to do your goals, and I just did them in my notebook because otherwise it messes this book up, and maybe I'll read it again in 4 or 5 years. I always like finding a book like this where you don't just read it once and think, that was nice. You read it, you get something from it, it's really useful, and you think, I could go back to that maybe in a few years. Is that a wasp? Can you see that? It might be a bee. Bees are fascinating, by the way.
That's a baby wasp.
Is that a baby wasp? Thank you. It's my animal expert over there. So yeah, Think Like a Winner by Yehuda Shinar. It's a good book, it's a practical book, but I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. Simply because it's not one of those ones that I was able to whiz through and really get into. Maybe it's the writing style, and he writes a lot about football teams. I don't give a damn about football teams. Maybe that's what it is. I just didn't connect with his writing style, but the content is really, really good.
Yeah. Whoa.
What are your basics? Now this is a good section. Your basics in whatever you do are the things that make the most difference, that you have to get right all the time. So if you're a rugby player, he talks a lot about Johnny Wilkinson in here, who's got the winning kick for, when was it, 2005 for England in the rugby. And so if you're a student preparing for exams, your basics would be knowing your topics, putting in revision time, knowing your timetable. So when's this exam, when do I need to be ready by, having a study plan.
Strawberry. Can I eat it?
Yeah, go ahead, baby. We're growing strawberries. So this is working from home. You can't do anything without chaos. If you're a salesperson, your basics will be your presentation, prospecting, knowing your product and everything. So it's a good idea. This is a good exercise you can try actually. Figure out what it is that you do that's important to you and figure out what your basics are. Know your basics and then make sure you've got those absolutely nailed. If you want to get better, work on them regularly. So for a football player, taking free kicks would be a basic. Knowing formations, knowing plays would be a basic, as would their fitness and everything else. But I do recommend this book, maybe not with bags and bags of enthusiasm, but like I said, that might just be the style. So let me read the back to you. This book will give you the advantage over other people, equipping you with the tools you need to be successful. Yehuda Shinar's secret is simple. To be a winner, you need to learn to think like one. Based on scientific research carried out over the last 18 years, Yehuda has devised a set of winning behavior principles that can be adapted and applied to any sphere of life. Using practical advice, quizzes, tests, and real-life case studies, Yehuda shows you how to transform your thought patterns so that whoever you are and whatever you want to achieve, you'll be one of life's winners. From conquering your self-defeating thoughts and winning the respect of others to clinching that promotion at work or winning in love, money, and health. Think Like a Winner will help you to succeed in everything you do.